Hello, welcome to my Game Week 6 review video. So much to look at. Disaster week for many who had wildcarded. Was Palmer overlooked? Does Haaland blanking mean he's not essential? Is the Arsenal defence overrated? And Spurs destroy Man United? But are they really all that? If you enjoy the video, please hit that like button and subscribe. Now let's get into it. Where else to start other than the crazy game between Chelsea and Brighton? What a first half. 6 goals, defensive chaos, and new record set? Wow! Cole Palmer has become the first player in Premier League history to score 4 goals in the first half of a game. Quite astonishing. But he was presented with gift-wrapped chances from Brighton, and he actually could have had more. He hit the post, had a goal disallowed for offside, and missed a real sitter in the second half too. So, was he overlooked by those wildcarding? Did you expect the Brighton defence to crumble? The high line they played was disastrous and cost them 4 big chances in 4 first half minutes, 3 of them falling to Palmer. But this season, Brighton have been much tighter defensively than they were last year until now. Their expected goals against had been 1.17 per 90, which was better than Arsenal so far. Today was shocking though, with 4.16 expected goals against, and more like the Brighton I remember under De Zerbi when it all started to unravel. I don't really think that was predictable, but the tactics were well off today from Haaland. Cole Palmer took full advantage and racked up 3.03 expected goal involvements, which is ridiculous for one player in a game of football. We know how good a player he is, but it is hard to judge a performance against a defence that was pretty much non-existent. He's not going to get anything like this much space every week, so should we have given him more consideration on a wild card? With Brighton's defensive record this season and the fixtures he's got coming up, I'd have to say no. I'd make the same decision again to go without him. And I wouldn't jump on him right now either. People will, after his massive 25-point haul, but 3 of the next 5 games are against some of the toughest defences out there. Teams who go out looking to keep it tight. Forest, Liverpool and Arsenal. Even Newcastle, who've been pretty poor this season, really upped their game against City this week. Okay, so Manchester United were really poor yesterday against Spurs, and that's a good fixture for Palmer. But it isn't enough over 5 weeks. This is not the time to panic buy. Come game week 12, with those fixtures, I'll be the first to bring him in. He could be a captain pick week after week then, but hold fire for now. We've missed the haul against Brighton, and it's not happening again straight away. Another good performance came from Jadon Sancho, who started again for Chelsea. He's becoming someone I'll also be really interested in when Chelsea's fixture run gets better. He got 2 assists and looked really bright. He's going to do well alongside Palmer. He can't match his output, but the two together could be dynamite. It's a little hard to judge quite how good Chelsea's attack is when the opposition makes it that easy, but they will score goals in good fixtures because of the attacking way they play and the quality of forwards they have. It wasn't just Brighton who were a shambles defensively though. Chelsea also gave away chances aplenty, with 2 mistakes from Sanchez leading to 2 Brighton goals. I'm glad I don't own him with his next 5 fixtures. I'm not sure I trust him in easy games either. When it comes to it, Chelsea attacking assets are simply better picks. So Haaland decided to take it easy this week and offered up his first game week without scoring. It's these weeks that remind you how expensive he is, but has he put the blistering start behind him? Will his phenomenal scoring pace slow down now? Perhaps a little, and he did look off his best against Newcastle, but he wasn't alone. We know Rodri is out for the season now, and he's really key to City. But he missed the first 3 games of the season too, and City won all of them. Maybe it was an improved Newcastle performance. They showed the defensive grit that we haven't seen for a while now, and on paper we know they have quality players. Maybe this is a corner turn for them, but their fixtures are poor, so we'll wait to see if their improvement continues before considering any of their assets again. As for Haaland, he doesn't have many off days, and he's a threat even when he's not involved in matches. With a couple of better decisions from İlkay Gündoğan, he could have had 2 great chances. As it worked out, he barely got a sniff, but look at their next fixtures. Would you bet against City scoring in all 5 of those? It's a great run for them. I think he'll get plenty of chances, and the one place we know he's really sharp is in front of goal. Blanks are going to be rare, and despite his price, I wouldn't dream of going without him for this run. Come game week 12 or 13, I think it's a totally different conversation, but right now, I think it's pretty vital to keep him. We also hope to find out which of City's fullbacks might be starting regularly between Lewis, Walker and Gvardiol, and it turned out this week they all would. Walker and Gvardiol as the fullbacks, and Rico Lewis in the number 8 role alongside Kovacic and Gundogan in midfield. It was the dream as a Lewis owner myself, with him regularly found in central attacking areas. It didn't quite work out, as it was in fact Gvardiol who opened the scoring with a lovely finish after great work from Grealish, who himself has looked more at it recently. We don't really know if all three will continue to start in the league. We do know Pep loves to surprise us with his rotation. I'll be hoping Lewis gets a break in the Champions League midweek and that he's more likely to get the start against Fulham in the league. Not easy to call yet, but at his price, I think he remains worth the risk. As I mentioned, City weren't at their best today, and one player really not at the races was Ilkay Gundogan. Poor decision making not to put Haaland through and bad pass execution in important areas may well have cost City some big chances. They were much more threatening when Foden replaced him for the last 25 minutes. Surely he has to take his place soon. Despite not playing well, City looked fairly comfortable after taking the lead, but a quick Newcastle pass in behind sent Gordon through and he went down over Ederson's challenge. My thoughts are it seemed a soft decision, definitely one for debate, and I'd love to hear everyone's opinion on the comments. Gordon stepped up confidently though, and that was 1-1. City didn't create enough after that to deserve to win the game, with Newcastle's defence strong enough to limit their chances. I might still end up investing in another City midfielder for the lovely run of fixtures they have, if I can establish who will get good game time. Champions League minutes will hopefully give me a clue. It's not an easy call, but Grealish could be that man. For those who wildcarded, the Arsenal defensive double-up was one of the big factors drawing people in. The Raya conundrum, was he fit, wasn't he fit, kept managers on their toes until moments before the 11 AM deadline on Saturday. It transpired he was, but then Arsenal conceded twice anyway, so he only got 1 point. So, is the Arsenal defence all it's cracked up to be? Well, they certainly were unlucky against Leicester. Leicester only created 0.32 expected goals against them, but a deflection and a wonder strike gave James Justin a brace. People will be interested in getting him in after that massive 12-point return for only 4.5 million, but don't do it. The Leicester defence is poor, and they'll barely keep any clean sheets this season. As for Arsenal, unlucky today, but lucky in plenty of their other matches this season. Is that just things balancing themselves out at an inopportune moment for managers who wildcard them in? In my opinion, the simple answer is yes. Arsenal still have a good defence, I'm not saying they don't. But conceding 5 goals in 6 games from an expected goals against of 6.88 is still very good, and Raya has done well limiting that to that many. They're not the best defence in the league, simply put. Top 6 or 7 at 1.13 expected goals against per 90. But Liverpool are the best, only 0.2 expected goals against per 90, and Manchester City next at 0.87. That is a cut above for now. You'd certainly say City have been more unlucky to concede 6 goals in 6 games than Arsenal's 5 in 6. There's nothing wrong with investing in them. Gabriel and Saliba are pretty much nails along with Raya, and their defence may improve to the level we saw last season when they really were the best defence in the league. Just don't expect clean sheets every week from them, although next week's super fixture at home to Southampton is a great chance. As for the match against Leicester, Arsenal were dominant. Saka somehow dodged an attacking return despite creating 4 big chances, and if he plays like that against Southampton, he'll surely do much better. He's very much captain material, and it's crazy to see over 100,000 managers have already transferred him out this week. Don't do it. He's one of the best picks you've got. Howard's got a goal and remains a good pick for the next 2 weeks, but it's Trossard and Martinelli who shoot the plaudits this match with a goal and an assist each. It'll be interesting to see who gets the most minutes in the massive Champions League game with PSV in midweek. Whoever gets the most rest is more likely to get the nod against Southampton, and that's another chance for Arsenal to rack up some more goals. I could see Sterling being given a start in that game, which would mean someone has to miss out. Definitely worth keeping an eye on, as they're great picks if they play. Werner came in for the injured Son for Spurs, and they really came out of the blocks quickly against Man United. They took full control of the match early on and scored early through Brennan Johnson in the 3rd minute, his 4th goal in 4 games. He seems to have made the right wing position his own now, with Kulusevski playing a deeper role in midfield. Maddison and Kulusevski were both heavily involved in Spurs' attacking moves, with Kulu scoring Spurs' 2nd. Solanke continued his goal-scoring run with a 3rd goal late on. Spurs have played well in both their last 2 games now, and the upcoming fixtures are pretty nice from an attacking perspective. Maybe they're becoming a team to invest in again. Creating 4.99 expected goals at Old Trafford is an impressive feat, even if Manchester United had a really poor day. I've said before, if Spurs attacking players gel, they can do really well, and Solanke, Johnson and Maddison are all coming into my thoughts at the moment. I'm not sure if I want to make a transfer this week, but it's one of them or a City midfielder that tops my list of desires. For United, there's not really much to say. Fernandes was sent off for a tackle on Maddison. Frankly, I think he was pretty unlucky as he slipped as he made the challenge. Unfortunately for owners, he has to be moved on as he's suspended for the next 3 matches. Let's talk about Jota, as he was the most transferred out Liverpool player last week, dropping 0.1 million in price as a result. It was no surprise to me he started, after his early substitution in midweek. He was the only player to start against West Ham and Wolves, but he missed out in game week 5, and with only 60 minutes in the Cup, it seemed inevitable he'd play, hence why I didn't sell him and started him this week. I would imagine he could get a rest in the Champions League this week, maybe with an appearance off the bench, and if that happens, he'll be in my team again for game week 7, as I'd fully expect another start against Palace. He punished all his sellers against Wolves with 2 assists and 1 bonus point, so those who kept him, like me, will have been delighted. Liverpool were a bit off it, particularly in the first half, with Szoboszlai missing an absolute sitter. Salah missed a glorious opportunity too, before getting the chance to make amends from the spot, which he duly took. He also failed to make a simple pass to release Curtis Jones late on, and all in all, didn't look as sharp as we'd expect from him. Diaz had a quiet game too, for once. He's been so good this season though, I don't expect him to be a minute's risk at this point. Maybe, if he plays over 70 minutes in the Champions League in midweek, I might wonder if he gets a start against Palace in game week 7. The Liverpool defence also weren't as focused as they have been this season, gifting Wolves their goal with some really sloppy play and poor communication between Konate and Alisson. They did only concede 0.56 expected goals in total though, and remained the strongest defence in the league. In the end, they created enough to win the game and really should have scored more than 2, amassing 2.6 for expected goals. Wolves are still struggling this season, though they have played some tough opposition. They begin a lovely run of fixtures in a few weeks though, and I'm not put off the idea of investing in them when that time comes. We learnt that maybe the plan for Everton from now on should be to concede first, as that's 4 matches in a row they've been involved in where the team who scored first has failed to win. Branthwaite is back, and although they didn't manage a clean sheet, their defence is instantly looking stronger, conceding only 0.085 expected goals against Palace. Now they may not be a team creating chances at will, but Everton have a run of fixtures against teams like that, and the defensive points are coming. I'm glad to have Mikalenko and Pickford. Even if the Newcastle fixture next looks a little trickier after their performance against City, the following 5 matches are great. The game itself was pretty tight, with neither team looking hugely creative. Palace edged the first half, and Pickford was fortunate with an effort that bounced up in front of goal and hit him, but they led through Mark Gay's first half strike. Palace were pretty unlucky not to be given a penalty after Tarkowski's poor challenge on Mateta, which may have put Palace firmly in control, but VAR surprisingly didn't intervene. The game changed in the second half though. McNeil got a brace to give Everton the 2-1 victory from only 0.27 expected goals with a wonderful finish for the equaliser. That really led to a change in momentum, and Everton sneaked the victory in a game Palace would have felt they didn't deserve to lose. Calvert-Lewin didn't get the chances today that he has done recently, but both he and McNeil will do well for their price going forward. Everton are still a good team to invest in, with many players offering great value. Villa went to Ipswich, and I for one really expected them to get the victory, but the performance, particularly in the second half, really wasn't up to it. If anyone deserved the 3 points, it would have been Ipswich. In the second half, it took until the 89th minute for Villa to muster a shot on target, and this was against a team who have defended poorly all season, and who left plenty of gaps for Villa to try to exploit. After the comeback against Wolves last week, it wasn't a performance I saw coming at all. Villa may have gotten themselves into a 2-1 lead, but Ipswich totally deserved their equaliser in the second half. Villa's goals came from Morgan Rogers and Watkins, who also had an assist, but Delap stole the show with a brace for Ipswich. I'm not worried about the fixtures for Villa, and think they will improve significantly next match, but it is worth noting that Morgan Rogers was taken off after 64 minutes with a possible tight hamstring. There's nothing to worry about yet, as he would be due to start against Bayern in the Champions League this week, so we'll know if he really has a problem before game week 7. Don't sell him before that. Watkins has had a great run of 3 games, racking up 30 points in the process, and his continual threat makes him a player I like. The Ipswich fixture was the pick of them for Villa though, and with that now behind us, I don't think it's the right time to bring him in anymore. Brentford just can't stop scoring in the first minute. Brian and Burmo this time with another great finish. Great for those who bought him in on wildcard this week. They didn't create much more after that though, against the West Ham defence that's been pretty flimsy this season, so not overly promising from an attacking perspective. West Ham levelled through Soucek and thoroughly deserved their point. Despite West Ham's good fixture against Ipswich in game week 7, they don't offer enough for me to want to invest in them. With Brentford, I remain interested in Burmo and Carvalho, who got the assist today, as their nice fixture on is only just beginning. Forest versus Fulham, the story of the penalty shouts. Fulham got one, Jimenez scored it. Forest wanted 2, but both appeals got turned down. Any of them could have been given or not given, but they were all potentially soft, so I'm not surprised that VAR went with the referee's call on all occasions. It could have worked out better for me and Chris Wood, but that's FPL. Nice day for those who played Anthony Robinson with his clean sheet. Both teams have had a good start to the season, and I still really like the look of the Forest defence. On another day, the penalty wouldn't have been given, and that could easily have added to their clean sheet collection this season. Fulham just need the good fixture run to return, and their assets like Robinson and Emil Smith-Rowe will become good options once again. That's all for now. I hope you found this video helpful, and as always, please hit the like and subscribe button if you enjoyed it. See you for the next one.